It should.
Yeah,
be.
so
Yeah.
you're the option to call yourself. There's somebody waiting to come.
We can't be. All right, let's officially call the meeting to order. We'll wait on the January 8th minutes, as we would have needed Russ or Sean here to be our quorum for that one, so that one will carry over. We did make the changes to those minutes at the last meeting before we realized that. So how about January 22nd? Let's see, Pam, Carter, Lillian. Nope, don't have a quorum for that one either. We would need Kathy or Alan.
Somebody's coming in.
It would still Russ. All right, let's go back to this one then. Hey, Russ, that's still not enough. Wait, yes, it is.
We're at 8 minutes.
All right, we can go back to January 8th minutes then. And we did make all the amendments to it at the last meeting, before we realized about the forum. So would someone like to make a motion that we,
Make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
I second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, January 8th minutes are accepted. Finally.
And I was gonna say, I can't. I was here for that.
You're wonderful to come. Thank you, Dan.
But then also I might resign from the meeting because I'm also the drama club is ramping up. And so I'll be busy like we did.
So
So I might-
resign from the committee?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I've done my part.
Okay, all right.
He might still ask you to put.
We
some-
still might.
Okay.
I mean, I know you'll still help at the town
Yeah.
store.
Well, thank you, Dan.
Thank you. It is
All right. Yeah.
appreciated.
Figure that will be easier now too going forward for you guys.
Thanks.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a formal,
yeah, yeah.
Email is fine.
okay, so for January 22nd, we would have needed 1, 2, 3, 4, there were 5 of us here. So we're short today.
Right, we're short 2 people.
We would need, or it could be those that were in attendance, right?
Yeah.
Right, Alan and
Yeah,
Kathy.
you're
We're, yeah,
Yeah,
so we have to wait on that one. So January 22nd will carry over. Okay. So February 5th. Pam, Carter, Lillian, Maria, Russ. Oh, we're good to go on this one. Anybody have any changes? For the February 5th minutes? I had one, on page 2, under, option 4, almost by the bottom. Where it said, should we ask the interviewees to rank the options shown? Unclear if the committee felt we should do this. I thought we said yes. But if anyone else doesn't reckon or remember it, I can, also, I should have gone back and looked at the video.
Page 2.
Page 2, yep, almost to the bottom, the
can you give
number 4, it says the following,
option 4?
yep, where it says.
I don't see where that note is.
Yeah, I don't-
Should we ask the interviewee to rank the options shown?
Yeah, I
Unclear
don't see that.
Committee.
See that?
It's right here.
I know, but I don't
It's
see
not
it
on
on mine, the one that you sent out.
Over.
Yeah, I see it there. Why would it show there and?
Why
not
would
here?
it be on? I don't know, because I only have one set.
Oh. Yeah, because it's not there. There's,
Where is it?
option 4.
Okay.
Comments. It says, this is the same as this is the same as option 4.
Oh, it's the last page,
Is yours on the last page?
Yeah.
All right, mine printed on the second. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, it's okay.
Hey, Alan,
Uh,
does anybody remember or no?
let me. Let me.
Right here.
Oh, yeah, that says option 4, but then I'm trying, oh, okay, so this is under after option 7. That's where it's listed. Mm. 2, 3, 7. Okay, general topics. Oh, here it is. Should we ask the interviewee? Okay.
If not, we can just discuss it tonight. And leave it as is. Never heard.
Yeah, I
the
don't
answer.
remember the outcome either.
Okay. All right. Remind me, we discussed it tonight. Would someone like to make a motion to accept the minutes from February 5th as received?
I second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Okay, minutes accepted. Thank you, everybody. All right.
back to second.
Do those before. Let's see. So is it just a quorum of those in attendance? If it is, then we're good if Alan's here.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So January 22nd,
a minute time.
perfect. January 22nd. Let's go back to that one. Anybody have any changes to it?
I did.
I did not either.
Make a motion to accept January 22nd as written.
I'll second it. All in favor?
I,
Aye. Alan?
Oh, yeah, I'm just double checking I was there for that one.
You were.
Oh, yes.
That's why we were happy.
Yes.
And we were happy that you
Yeah.
came. We got you.
we've been
Uh,
talking about you for a while.
Okay. And the others abstaining then. All right, thanks, guys. All right, invitation for public comment.
Shall I talk now just to give a quick update?
Cam, do you have anything?
No. No, I really.
Well, thank you for coming.
I emailed you earlier, I'm not sure if you saw it yet, I got a draft of the regulatory review for the natural resources consultant. And, I guess I would just ask if you guys can take a look at it and maybe talk about it at your next meeting. Put that on your agenda to take that.
Okay.
And then Jeff Littleton is coming to the planning board meeting on March 19th. I think I said that already, right? And then the 17th of April is when he's doing a presentation on the natural resources inventory, the project he's working on with the Conservation Commission.
So
just-
town
It's
presentation.
gonna be townwide, open to everyone. Well, not that the planning board isn't, but
Yeah.
just, it will be a presentation on the natural resources inventory he's been working on over the past couple of years.
I'm sorry, what was that date again in April?
April
It's
17th.
17th, and
Okay.
the Conservation Commission will promote it.
Okay,
They're gonna host it. And yeah, that'll be here in the town hall. Probably
I think
in
it
the big
was
room, 'cause I think he's gonna have
Sorry.
live pictures and things. Yeah, so those 2 days, March 19th and April 17th. And then I'm sorry I missed that meeting in January. I think you talked about the summary document that Ivy had put together. Is that
Yeah.
correct? So I want to send that to the planning board, and I just want to make sure I have the most recent version, and wondered if, you know, one or two of you or whoever wants to come to share that with the planning board on March 5th. If that's 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If that's something you guys are willing to do.
Yep,
just tell
I'll
me what
send
you've done
you-
So far,
I'll send you the final.
okay,
Everybody should have it, and I think I always do include you on it.
yeah, I did see
but
one, but I
just
wasn't
to be
sure if that was
certain.
the final.
Yeah,
I saw some, Ivy had made some edits, but
Yeah.
I didn't know if that, anything had happened after that.
Right.
Just wanna make sure I have the right one.
okay, Christine.
When is the next scheduled meeting in case,
I thought,
yeah.
March 4th.
Okay, so in case I have to come for a forum to approve minutes,
Oh, yeah, then you're gonna get stuck having to be at the next meeting.
so then don't resign.
Hold on that resignation email. Final report.
Yeah.
You
okay.
could say effective that.
Expected that day, and then I'll come, yeah. yeah.
Thanks, Dan.
Good night, sorry, you know.
Thanks for your help.
Okay.
Did you say?
And word on the fifth. Got it. That's okay. Okay, easy. And I think tonight's gonna be pretty quick. All we had to do is really firm up the amended document that Lillian had done with all of our input for the one-on-one interviews. The other documents that I sent along with the agenda were for your knowledge so that you can read them in advance and have them also at your fingertips should someone you're interviewing ask a question that you might not know the answer to. So it was just the town of Temple zoning on ADUs and also the New Hampshire's ADU law. There were two of them that Christine sent, and after reading, I think the one that I sent to you folks seemed to be the easiest and the most concise. So those are just for your reference when talking with folks. So let's go ahead and take a look at the draft 2 of the guidelines or the thought starters, conversation starters for our interviews. Did anyone have any, let's start with that. Did anybody have any updates that they wanted to bring up that they didn't see, that we talked about, that we didn't capture?
I have comments, but not
Yep.
updates.
Okay.
I think we should just.
Let's
talk
just
about
go through it. Yep.
Others do. So I guess the first one is just maybe on the naming of what we call each option.
Mhm.
For instance, like the first one, it says connected farmhouse, but should we be calling it something? I guess we're talking about
Like
a
we've always-
multifamily, right? Right, like, is that what we should be called? Should we make it more clear on what we're calling things?
Yeah, the titles that I used were taken from that document that Ivy first gave.
Yeah, yeah,
But to your point, we could have, a slash that says multifamily housing so that it's clearer what it's going to be.
right, right. I don't know what other people
Yeah,
think.
yep,
but-
Yeah,
And this is, hold on, this is in replacing for, because the one that really got a lot of um, green stickers, big house, little house, back house barn.
Right.
So,
Which I think is that,
which
right?
is
that's it.
this,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
we've been using that.
I think
one
the
of
term
those, but-
term is fine, but maybe,
Well, and we could put, as I said, we could include or maybe in parentheses would be a multifamily.
Yeah.
Unit, okay. What does everyone think about that? Okay,
And this one, I'm not sure that we need the word apartment, because this farmhouse has a series of attached buildings and could house multiple apartments of different sizes. They're really their own dwelling.
okay,
Multi-dwellings.
okay, multiple dwellings. I'm
You
sorry?
would call it an apartment?
absolutely. I mean,
Well,
what-
because-
what would, you wouldn't purchase it separately, it wouldn't be a-
No.
Yeah. unless it was
Yeah, that's
condo
true.
association guided.
somebody would
Oh,
rent it.
Yeah.
right? To
In
me,
zoning
that's
lingo, it's a multi-family dwelling. It's
Okay.
a dwelling unit in our zoning. That's how,
that's-
So why don't we be consistent with what our zoning says?
whatever you want to call it. I'm just.
Yeah, I'm just saying to the other everyday person.
Yeah.
What is that,
Right.
right? When we're explaining.
Yeah, I'm gonna put multiple apartments / dwellings.
That sounds good.
The other,
Because we're not, we're not gonna be, frozen into exactly what's written here when we're talking with people.
Right.
No. Pam,
Brought this a long time ago, maybe something you discussed, but it's been on my mind. Two things. All buildings that were built prior to the beginning of the zoning, 1972, large buildings can by right be divvied up into apartments. Priscilla Wesson's.
Yep.
house, my house, and others. So
Yep.
that, unless you're gonna be building great big places, that takes it a little bit out of play. The other thing I wonder is in getting people to like these various designs, I wonder if there's a risk there, because I don't know if we're going to have the will or force to designate that, the developer's gonna do that. And when I was on the planning board, I couldn't even get anybody to agree that it might be nice to have the accessory dwelling unit with something like the original. And I'm just raising that because I
Yeah.
keep bumping into the first.
Mhm, mhm. Yes, good point.
so you-
And
are
I
you
think-
saying that,
I don't know how we can control
how do you,
what it looks like.
So it's form-based code, is
Right.
what you're talking about, which,
Yeah.
yeah, and so there are some things we can say, but whether or not it's totally enforceable or it would fly in Temple, but,
I'm just,
yeah,
I keep thinking about that because we've shown a lot of pictures to a lot of people.
yeah.
And you get people enthusing over an old farm or
Sure.
whatever, and they suddenly end up with something.
an
that
apartment
they-
building? That's not.
well, and that was the purpose of the visuals, was to see what characteristics amongst the things that got the most green, like what was the common denominator, so we may be able to pass that on to the planning board for optional
Yeah.
form-based housing, like, because that was the one thing that Ivy did point out that, if we went towards that form-based, whether it be, like now, we have no greater than what, 40 feet
Yeah, there's
Height.
only-
in height and that kind of thing. But if we wanted to get more options of things that would look like it belongs in Temple, to be able to do it by way of form-based housing.
But what I'm wondering is, does this play with what developers can do? I mean, they can do
Well.
anything, but it would be nice to have some developer, not from Temple, perhaps not even from the Monadnock region, offer some ideas about what's possible within the financial
Yeah.
resources, or probably a desire probably to make these buildings, energy efficient or whatever. So
Mhm.
I'm just,
Yep.
I'm just looking at the realities. Things start to get voted.
Yeah. Yeah. Good points.
Um, For the second sentence here, historically Temple has had many of these, but converting to multiple apartments is not currently allowed. Is this?
So then that's not accurate.
I would.
Right,
If it's
that's
built before
not-
1972, then.
Okay, so we should
Yeah.
just take that out. Or should we
Well,
take
Or
out?
say Unless it was built
Yeah.
before 1972.
Okay, okay.
If the house had, if this house had been built before 72.
Yeah, that didn't occur to me either.
So it would be if built before 19.
So say that
Yeah,
one more
good job.
time.
Yeah, I want to
Read
make
that
sure
again.
yeah, okay, historically Temple has had many of these, but converting multiple apartments is not currently allowed if the building was built before nineteen.
It's the opposite. of
Built.
that.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
Okay, if the building was
Unless
not
the
built.
building was built before.
All right,
1972,
so
Or if it was built after 19.
But the statement
Wait.
historically Temple has had many of these, is that true?
I don't know how many there are.
I don't know, that's, we had just,
I just don't.
I'm
wanna be-
trying to
I don't
remember
wanna
where,
be
I'm trying to remember where I
misleading.
got the wording.
Yeah, I don't know, I mean, it could have been in with Ivy's document.
but you know what?
Maybe it's-
Yeah,
Temple
Even-
has a number of these currently.
yeah. But
But-
that would be a lot easier.
But on the same hand, even if that second statement is true, we're not trying to influence the listener, the interviewer,
Oh, well,
or
that's
the
true, too.
interviewee.
Yeah,
So we should just
So-
take that out completely.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, okay.
I would still say some currently exist in Temple.
Yeah,
But we're built before 1972.
Potentially.
And if
so I
Yeah,
have,
there are definitely some we don't know.
so you're saying if the big house, little house, back house, barn was built before 72, it's grandfathered in. If someone has a home, has appendages like that from 72 or before, are they allowed to convert it now or no?
If it was built before 72.
If the whole house was built before 72, are they allowed to convert it now into,
Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's-
Because
it's
our-
just still need to get a permit, but.
Right.
yes.
but our zoning says you can only have one ADU, right? So
Yeah,
this
but
would be,
that's
is this
different.
gonna be an ADU or is this gonna be like big house, back house, little house, barn? Is the little house an ADU or is it a apartment?
It's an ADU, it's just still multiple ADUs.
But our zoning says one
One
ADU per
So that
dwelling,
if it was
so,
Built before 72, right?
Would it
so,
be called an ADU? Is that?
Well, it's
how
still
big
an
is one?
accessory dwelling.
But you could have three.
It depends on how big the primary residence is. and
Right.
The size of
Yeah.
the smaller units. I assume, assuming they're smaller, they're not all the same
Right.
size.
Okay.
I think ADU is kind of new business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like we don't wanna,
Bring up the old place. That's what I did. It's house, L, house, one, block, L, other block. They're joined together.
are they equal size though, or no? Yeah.
by law. And Priscilla Weston's, I should say Canterbury's house. That's the
Right.
Big farmhouse is an apartment on the near side,
mhm,
and then there was an apartment on the south side.
Mhm.
I imagine, I don't know when they did that, but certainly that was built before 1970.
Yeah.
yeah,
But I think it was, they're just apartments, as if they only broke up the old place, you know?
Yeah. I asked that question only in case it's posed to us. If someone said, well, I've got a home that was built before 1972 and can I chop it up into 4 different parts?
It seems odd because it's one structure. But it has, it's just a giant structure. But right now, it's just or family, single family residence. And then you can also break it up into 10 units, because that's how big it is. How, just because it was before 1972. so-
That's what I'm asking, is
Yeah.
it the 1972 that's the
You don't have to follow.
grandfathered clause?
Yeah,
I think we should look at what it says exactly.
yeah,
Because I know that that was sort of announced. I can't tell you where it was in the ordinance.
I would almost feel like what it's. Yeah, but probably if it was already. Multiple dwellings.
Before
big
72.
farmhouse Before 1972.
Yeah.
That's okay, but if you had just like. A big house that was built in 1971. And you just happen to have enough room to divide it up today, I'm not sure that dividing it today is meets the same criteria.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Very confusing, like my
Right.
in-laws, they had, when they bought that house, it was 3 units.
Mhm.
And then they turned it back into one, but it was 131, I mean, so could they?
Could they put it back
put
to
it
what
back
it
to
was
3? I don't know.
without
Figure it
any special, I mean,
I
yes,
think you
the-
would lose.
That,
Like any other
yeah.
thing, any kind of green card, once you.
once you've
Undo
undone
it.
it.
Once
yeah.
you change it,
Go back and
Yeah.
say, oh, no, never mind.
But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, well, except if you get a special exception, it stays with properties,
Right.
yeah. So if it had a special,
But they had,
yeah, even if they changed it and wanted to change it back, the special exception still applies.
Hmm,
Right?
Maybe we need to review.
Yeah, I wrote it down as a question.
Okay.
So how do we want the wording to stay on this?
Keep it as simple as possible.
Well,
Yeah.
I wrote, there are some of these in Temple, comma, most were built before 1972.
But
Well, we
they-
can't, we don't
So,
do that.
so we're gonna,
We
so
can't say
I,
that,
we should just take it out completely.
Just say there are some of these in town.
period.
But,
Oh.
and they could be built if they had a special exception.
Yes.
Right, so maybe you could put that in there.
Oh, no, that's getting too
No?
convoluted.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be having very simple
Then I won't
conversations
think
with
of-
people.
Well, if this can't be built. Are you saying this can't be built?
Well, we have to
Can
look
be
at our
built with a
zoning.
special exception.
It can be built with a special,
So do we have,
but
it?
if we need to make a zoning change to allow that,
Right.
that's the question.
Right. Okay,
If
and
people
that's
want-
what we were
people
looking
want
for
that.
on here.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Do people think that should be allowed?
And so should we be offering this as an
So I think,
Seems as though it's right, because if. I mean, are we saying then that an old farmhouse can't be turned into apartments?
It seems to me this blends together, that what used to be something which was a pre-existing use. Has now been absorbed into the concept of ADUs, so you don't really even have to talk about what it used to be.
Yeah,
Because now you could do it with the newer building as an ADU with permission. So rather than confuse what used to be when the zoning changed, we got zoning,
mhm.
which is now it's pretty ancient history. Maybe more confusing.
So I think this photo has two applications, right? It's someone that could do this with an existing building, and the other application is form base,
Well, they could build it
Zoning.
now. Yeah, if we changed our zoning to allow it.
right?
Yeah.
So we have,
And said something in form-based code language that it was consistent with the neighborhood or, something like that.
You know, it occurred to me that maybe we're getting too deep into the weeds here. We're just asking them to look at the
Yeah.
style of the house.
Right.
I know,
Period.
But we
also
said-
need to be clear on
Right.
what it is, so that we can walk away with like, okay, people like this, and it is. What is it? And I guess I'm not clear it
Mhm.
all right now, what.
It's a
it is.
multi-family, like.
Yeah, well, it's a it's a multifamily,
That
but,
looks like a single family farmhouse.
right, but I don't know if we need to get into all the definitions of what's in the zoning, what might be in the zoning, because then you end up spending 3 hours with someone on one photo, and you don't really get the feedback that you're looking for, which is really the style.
But when
I
we,
But I don't think that's fair, because showing them
No.
this beautiful old farmhouse is not
Oh,
where
I
the
know.
developer's gonna go. So,
No, and I'm,
Tell them that's.
unless we do form
yes,
based,
but I think that's like, sure, I love this house, it's gorgeous, right?
yeah,
well, when
No.
we started this out, when we started to make this document, it was the top vote getters and what the zoning change would have to be in order to allow it.
okay, so
Right.
what type of detail do we need to add to bring it to that?
Well, it's the multifamily.
Yeah, so I think in the heading, we say connected farmhouse slash
Yeah,
in
would be
parentheses,
multifamily.
multifamily,
Yeah,
and then we say. Maybe we change the description to be more fitting to,
well, it is a farmhouse with a series of attached buildings.
I know, but is that conveying, like, is that the truth of what it would be?
Well, I mean, when you look
Real
at it,
life.
that is what it is. I mean, that is what it is. If we want to get into more detail about what it would mean for zoning or anything like that, then we can add that.
Russ, did you say there's a big house, little house, back house barn in Hollis going up? Or was it Ivy that mentioned something?
New one, you mean?
I don't remember anything. But that doesn't mean anything.
I guess my only thought, Lillian, is I just don't want to be leading whoever we're sharing this to the assumption of, oh, well, yes, that looks lovely, I would like that in Temple, but then in reality, it's actually a multifamily.
Right.
And that's maybe a new multifamily is different than this,
Oh, right. Oh, and I agree with you completely.
yeah.
Yeah, but when you look at this, it's still the connected farmhouse as a multi-family dwelling.
Yes,
Which looks historically appropriate for Temple,
Right,
but would require zoning
yeah. So maybe
changes.
just
right.
leave it the way
We're looking at stock.
right, right.
Stock. We like this kind of style, and whether it's new construction or conversion of an old building, it's really not what we're talking about. Just
Right.
so you know, do you like this, like, if we had these, whether it was built tomorrow or it was built in 1790,
Right.
it'd be okay with you.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Okay.
And then once we get our information back from all the interviews, then we make the decision. Okay, was this like high vote getter and what would the zoning changes need to be? We
But
pass it on to
could
the
we
planning
make
board.
zoning changes to make that, like, can we make a zoning change that allows a 3+ family? But it has to look like big house, little house, back house.
Yeah, I mean, if you can pay that, we can put that in a form-based code. So
Yeah.
what tools are available to make this happen? One is form-based. One is allowing multifamily. I would also ask questions like, where do you think the parking should be?
Yeah,
How
Yeah.
far back from the road would you like to do it? Right? I mean, I don't know how people would react to that voting on restrictions like that. But
Yeah.
those are questions I have.
With a multi-family, then say that's subject to site plan review.
Right, so right now for multifamily, we require what, 4 parking?
4
spaces?
parking places.
So that is something that's unrealistic
Yeah.
for a 4 unit. That's 16 parking spaces.
Right,
So those are questions that like,
We
that's absurd, right?
right.
we require 4 parking spaces.
Per dwelling.
Per dwelling.
Yeah.
Well, in our house.
Well, now mind you,
It could be, you can't stall, but I
I'm
mean-
just saying, of course,
Well, it's grandfathered in.
right,
So it's.
Oh,
just-
right.
but
I-
4
yeah.
for all new. Mhm.
That's like 2 vehicles per adult.
Off-street parking, yeah.
Yep,
I don't know if you've been watching this, but in the urban areas, you're trying to almost limit parking.
Yep.
Yes.
They don't wanna have all this great acreage,
Right,
and so how many do you assign, because they have buses and other things, and here you won't be able.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to have the park.
We could have a town carriage with the horses and they would go around and pick everybody up.
So those are questions, like parking is a
Oh,
big
yeah.
question I have about something like that.
Yep.
You watched the video?
No,
Oh,
you have to
for
watch
the-
the
yeah.
video.
Yeah, height is another, as you meant, I think our height is probably fine the way it is. for
At
height
40,
restriction.
Yeah,
I think that has to do with theoretically, the.
Yeah.
The whole conundrum.
Mhm.
mhm.
Should we move
So
to
do you
the
wanna-
next one?
You wanna read, you wanna read back what you've got? Lily? They're not all gonna be like that, 'cause
I have no comment.
we spend a lot
You're
on
not
it.
allowed to talk, yeah.
And I shot myself in the foot, I said, it's gonna be relatively,
I know, don't say that again.
I'll never say it again. All right, Lillian, can you please
All
read
right.
through option 1
Option
as
one.
we've now amended it?
Well, we'll see once I get through it. Connected farmhouse, paren, would be a multifamily dwelling. This farmhouse is a series of attached buildings and could house multiple apartments / dwellings of different sizes. There are some of these in Temple. And then under the photo, I added questions. Parking, how many spaces, where?
And how far back from the road?
Yeah, I mean, we
Okay.
currently, our setback is currently
You
35.
still have to
feet.
do 35, so
And
it's
then there's-
considered single, well, a new dwelling.
Right. for
And then your
individual.
setbacks from all the,
Right,
and the same road frontage, depend on your district.
right, yeah. Road frontage.
Yep.
Deterrent, yes. for-
Septic, well,
Wait a minute, what,
Acreage is-
Acreage, yeah.
how much is the frontage, 250?
it depends
250 in
on
the
where you're
village,
at.
300 in the rural residential and 500 in the mountain.
Okay,
No, 350 road frontage in the mountain,
350.
300 in the ag rural, 350 in the mountain,
Oh, 300 in ag rural and 350 in mountain.
and 250 in
The village.
Village.
Is it 250 or
200
200?
200 in the village.
But are these things, I mean, do we need to ask? people? Is that-
Yeah, because we're really
Well, I
talking
think-
about style again.
Again.
You know, I think we're trying to,
Yeah.
we're getting too deep
Too
in the
much.
weeds.
Yeah, I would still ask.
Well, it's a
Yeah.
consideration.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, let's not get into the
But I
weeds.
guess what are you trying to get out of that in terms of, like, because we need so much?
well, because somebody
or-
could like that house, but then if there's 16 parking
16.
spaces in front of it, it becomes a lot less attractive.
I think that's where you initiate the conversation.
Yeah.
And so here's this option. First, what do you think?
Yeah,
And if they like it or not, and said, here's some other things we've been thinking about. When you
Yeah.
have something like this.
Where do you think parking
Acreage,
should be?
parking, septic, do you have any thoughts on that? And then let them, because we don't want to give them.
Yeah.
Right.
We wanna deal with this.
Right,
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep the question of parking, how many spaces and where?
Yep.
Okay, all right, option 2.
Watch this one. Row
Yeah, the
cottages.
row of cottages,
I feel, I mean, this is clear to me.
Yep.
okay. Okay, yeah, in the parking is pretty obvious there. Okay,
And again, we have one of these that will already. A one-on-one.
yeah,
But
Okay.
question. You're gonna say, Pam, stop talking. If these were built now,
Could build them now.
well, we'd have to make a zoning change.
That's what we're trying to identify.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
can't build these now.
Right.
But each of these would require 4 stalls of parking.
Or,
But we'd already be making a zoning change, right? Wouldn't
Right.
be part of the zoning for this type of dwelling.
yeah, and the state may beat us to it, but yeah.
Yeah.
but again, we're talking about style, we're not talking about getting into all the details.
Yep.
Because otherwise, asking someone to sit down with us for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
To go through this.
Yeah.
It's gonna become a 3-hour conversation.
Cam,
I'm dying to talk to anybody about this. Anybody visited that little village, Peterborough, shut down.
I know
Now
people that live
revive.
there.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's back up and,
oh,
it's back up and going, and they're adding, new,
Well, it's figured in one of my ones, I think they got. A lot,
yeah,
a lot of charm.
Yep.
And the people who come to keep that,
Walden.
Yeah.
It's called an eco wall,
Walden Eco Village.
What,
something like.
where is
Yeah.
it? Is that, no, yeah,
It's
where,
near the Wells School.
By the wells.
Yeah.
oh, okay, okay.
But they're back on track, or he's back on track as far
I
as,
didn't think.
Yeah, it's too bad there's not a picture of that here instead of this one.
I mean, could that be changed pretty easily?
yeah, if we can get a picture of it.
I mean, it should be a full thing.
Are they in a row, or are they spread around?
Do-
No, this.
They're splattered.
Yeah, so this is a little different.
They're splattered.
This has them, you know, on a small area.
One small
Yeah.
lot owned by somebody.
Right.
Oh,
Cause
on
these people don't own their land on this. Right,
This is consent.
I think that's.
Condos.
a condo
I think it's
association,
true,
yeah.
But that's the thing, it's one lot that he has all these little houses on.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
in the Echo Walden.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, so that's different.
and he also,
But it's similar to the Temple cabin.
the cabins down here.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think the concept. of it is all-
yeah,
Budget dwelling on one.
Is there a reason why we can't or shouldn't use our own, the one that's in Temple? A picture of the,
I mean, I've used that because it's very.
I understand that. It's new, it's fresh.
No, this, no, there's.
This is Harrisville,
These are very,
yeah.
They're all 18.
I mean, we should use. if we
I'll
find the
say-
Picture.
If we,
Ivy said something about not wanting to use people in town stuff, because you don't want people to
Yeah.
come and say, that's my house,
Yeah.
what's wrong with my house?
gotcha.
Yeah, and I agree with that, I agree with that. Okay, so anything else on option 2?
And the zoning change that would be needed because
No,
we
we're not
can't make them
talking about
now,
I like the idea. of
in case we get
taking a picture of
asked.
the-
Oh.
that
I
building.
mean, I found a couple.
But I-
pretty easy
I-
pictures, just
the
like
zoning
Googling
expert.
what an eco-
I mean, I can
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah.
the things, but I don't want to say something to somebody and then have them say, well, you said this wasn't in the zoning, or this was in the zoning, and then, I mean, we're not recording our conversations, so things could get convoluted. So I'm just trying to think.
Well, we did
ahead.
talk about recording them and doing the automatic transcripts so that we captured
Oh,
everything.
yeah, that's right.
Remember?
we did. Okay, so I think.
I think this one, I feel like this is clear.
Just leave it.
Like, there is
Any
a
extra?
zoning change that needs to be made
To allow it.
to
Yep.
currently.
I'm sorry, Carter, can you repeat that?
I was just saying, I think it's good, it's fine, we should just, there is a zoning change, whatever that is, that would be made to make that happen.
So should we say that right up front at the top on page 1 and say, for, we're just asking for you to comment on the style, but keep in mind that zoning changes would probably be needed if we were to accept any of these.
Well,
How about that as a way to,
yeah, most all of them.
yeah, okay.
Print it up quick.
Numbering the pages.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we have them option 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we could also do that for you, Russ.
Page number.
Okay, so what I did at
Can you
the
number
very,
the pages?
at the end of the top on page 1, I added a paragraph. And I said, we'd like to ask you about the style from the photos. Zoning changes would likely need to be made for any of these options. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, so we're up to option
And
three?
did you hear them say a request if we could number the pages?
No. I'm only kidding.
I know.
Okay,
All right, option 3.
So I have some feedback, but very minor. I, just at the top, it says option 3, accessory dwelling units, and then we break it down by attached and detached. Can we consider removing where it says smaller house with connected barn?
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
Yeah.
yeah,
I feel like that's not both of those, or maybe.
Well, and it's not even, well, this one was is that what you were saying? Why
I
was
think
it
we're
called-
just talking about accessory dwelling units
Yeah.
and that,
It doesn't
we
have
should
to have a.
just-
oh, yeah, they
connected
don't
barn.
have to
They
be
don't have
like
to be
that, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and the first one is attached and the second one is detached.
Yep. Yep.
Okay,
And then we did find out, that yes, indeed, you could. And that was updated. I don't know if everybody saw it, where it says on the bottom, page 3, under option 3, or if the detached ADU meets all buildable lot requirements, road frontage, minimum acres, blah, 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 it may be sold separate from the initial. Remember, we had that
Yeah.
question the last time, but,
yeah,
do we need to have that in there though? I mean, I think it's important for us to know that, but maybe not. I don't know that that's, again, I feel like that's a lot of details for the
Yeah.
conversation.
It is. When somebody does a detached, all of a sudden it's a subdivision.
Okay. Then that's.
which is why I
Yeah.
asked,
Yeah.
Christine to clarify it for us.
Okay.
Yeah. So just that folks know up in advance. Option 4,
we just did option 4, detached.
no, we did 3.
Oh, okay, okay.
Option 4, plan development, village node, pocket neighborhood. Is that what everybody else has?
Well, that's a
No.
5.
No, yeah, that's option 5.
What the heck? I have 4. Option 1 is the multi-dwelling connected
We got-
farmhouse.
Wait a minute.
We eliminated one,
We did.
so. this
2
would
is
be-
the row houses.
Yeah.
3 is accessory dwellings.
Yeah,
4 then is planned development village node.
oh, no, I have option 4 detached dwelling unit, I had broken it out. Was this version 2 you're looking at, or version 1?
2.
So you made detached one,
But that's fine.
Yeah, I made that into a separate option,
It's okay.
All right, so you want, so it is option 4 then.
yeah,
Then,
and then option
Um,
5 is the planned development village node.
Which would be more similar to the Walden Eco Village than like.
Okay, then I'm gonna-
Cottage housing. In the sense of that was like an intentionally developed community, not just like Woodville houses. So.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I need to pump the brakes and go back to 3. Then where you're describing since you're making them separate, you describe what's an accessory dwelling unit. Smaller housing units either attached
Oh,
within
okay.
existing.
Okay. And then
I would have
remove-
to, you'd have to eliminate then, or move the or detached separate building on the same parcel to
Okay,
define.
I just deleted it. Okay. ADUs are smaller housing units. Attached or within, I removed either.
And then the last sentence, Temple currently allows ADUs, but would need to have twice the acreage for the specific district to allow the detached.
No, that's in the option 4.
Okay, you've got it. All right. All right,
And so option 4 is a physically separate building on the same lot.
Yep.
Okay,
so now we're at 5.
yes. Planned development village.
How, so this differs because they're not condos, is that?
Right. The
Or
owner,
not?
the
How does
house,
this differ from?
the person in the
Right.
house owns the land that their house is on in this. This is like Church Street in Peterborough. They're just
Okay.
closer
Yeah.
together, smaller.
See, that seems opposite of what, though, the second option seems more like what you're saying for this, and this option seems more like the Walden Eco Village type situation.
Second option would be closest to the eco village because nobody owns their land in the Walden Eco Village.
Except that they're close together in that first in what you have currently, and I think.
Right.
the
Yeah, like
Walton
what-
Villages are not right on top of each
Well,
other.
they're pretty close.
Some are close, but they're splattered across the whole,
Okay,
I think it goes to more of why, new construction versus, something existing. So the first option too, is the existing mill house happen to be on one property and they got turned. Condos, but it's all still one property, it's very small.
Right.
This spot is a developer can took some land, and whether it's, it's planned, whether they're on top of each other or they're scattered out through the woods, you've got a plan, they probably have a septic system, parking, well, meets requirements.
but could be
then-
shared
then-
by
But-
couple units, but
Right.
yeah.
but we didn't get what we got all the green
individually
stickers
owned,
for
I see.
was because they were small
Yeah,
and closer together and you had land in conservation.
so,
So
Yeah.
it's not like Sarah Drive, which is a planned development, right? Off of 101. It's not like Sarah Drive
Well.
Well, I guess it is.
yeah.
Because.
that's conservation.
because they do have conservation down there.
I think like you said, it's more of a cluster subdivision.
Yeah. This is.
That, I know I use the term village node all the time, but for me, that feels more like it's in the center of town.
Me too.
Yeah,
That
I would,
throws me off.
yeah, I'll take village note out, because I haven't liked that either, because it doesn't, this photo doesn't convey a village to me.
I feel like a village node, it maybe have some commercial.
Yeah,
You have
Right.
like maybe a downstairs building, office and an upstairs apartment. or something.
Right.
yeah.
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 I like that, I mean. they're
Like
not
in
really-
Wilton.
Yeah, like
That's what they're doing in
little
Wilton.
grocery store or
Yeah.
But
something.
they need that
Yeah.
little new one on, 119 for Ridge.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
that we
That-
talked
that's
about.
Very new.
Yeah.
And that's got all commercial space on the bottom, a nice apartment.
Around
got a
back.
Playground for kids,
Mhm.
locations exactly.
Right.
Optimal.
Right.
Screening from the road.
Screening would be nice.
But for 119.
Right.
Everything's on the road front at
Yeah.
on 119, right?
But essentially, this is
Individually owned.
These are all
individually owned versus
correct.
Right.
technically.
Yeah.
Is Eco Walden, is that individually owned? or-
No, that was just like rental.
They're
Yeah, they're
rents.
rentals.
Yeah,
Okay, so option 5, I removed village note.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Option 6,
Maybe it's planned cluster development and, what do you think, Wes?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely fun.
Yeah. for
well,
sure.
and it, yeah, cluster, we could add cluster, the first sentence says close groupings.
Okay, yeah, that covers.
Okay. Okay, option 6.
Where it says parking would be limited
And so that.
with possible restrictions, can you restrict in a planned development pocket neighborhood to less than 4?
No, we'd probably have to do it
I think he was signed.
across the line, across
That's,
the board.
so I,
What you could do is like all privately owned spots, and then there's a common space in the middle. with like
Correct.
Parking.
A parking spot or a garage or.
I'm saying for our purposes, we should probably get rid of parking would be limited because
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
Yes,
would,
we don't have that for any of the others. Any kind of
No.
parking comment. Okay.
exactly.
how close does parking technically have to be to the dwelling? Is the next question.
I haven't.
So is there anything that,
How close does parking have to be to the dwelling unit?
I don't think there's any restrictions on that.
Yeah.
okay, so
I've
that
not
is
read any.
something to keep in factor.
Yeah.
So,
The, assistant,
Right,
they can be quite big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, in the New Venusa community, and the parking is not anywhere near.
No. no. No,
I mean, I think they have a couple of, or, you know, handicap.
handicap, but, yeah.
Yeah, so they'll, all those little open garages,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
5, 6, I mean,
Here it says ADU. Is this really an ADU?
no,
No, not really.
no,
I thought
Good
we were
point.
talking about this as being duplex.
no,
No, this
duplex is
was,
on the back.
yeah, this one is to have,
Boarding house?
This is
Yeah,
the
this is
boarding,
the
this is
boarding
the boarding house.
Maybe we could just say.
well, I took out the ADU piece.
Yeah,
But I,
but still multiple. It's not even multiple dwellings, because it's a shared kitchen.
right,
Right, but the style that we're looking at is the large house. And with-
Resembles a single family.
Yeah,
it's like a
yeah.
single family.
Yeah,
Diane Kelly's is essentially a boarding house now. It's one-
well, yeah.
I was gonna go further than that, except to say that it is a nice big old house. It's not separate.
Right,
Yes, and actually, Al Gold's old house where all the. Is a duplex. It's a two bedroom apartments.
Yep.
I don't know when that was built, I'm guessing before 72.
she told me, but I don't remember, because I knew Carol, because I knew their daughter. Yeah, and I think he built it for her.
Yeah, they built the addition at Carroll.
Right, and
Yes.
she's younger than me, so I would guess it was after 72, but.
The house itself was pretty, well, I don't know if that went under like being an ADU at that point, that
Yeah.
because he had like more than enough acreage with that lot
Right.
too, so. Because I honestly think it was like built in my lifetime, like the addition that she lived in,
Yeah, I think so too.
yeah.
It's allowed.
It's a very attractive example. of it.
It is, yeah.
And some of the old houses have 6 entrances, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Doors everywhere.
The barn.
Yeah, I think we have like 5 doors to the exterior on our place,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. We have 7 maybe.
all right,
6.
Yeah, we have at least 6,
Garage.
plus, yeah, plus the stall. Oh, yeah, I didn't think of the garage.
Yeah.
Might be 8. Okay, is that it for option 6?
So this is option 6 and then we're calling it a house. Yeah.
No, I put option 6, large house with porch. And then in the description, it says individually rented bedrooms in a boarding house model.
why don't we say this type of home could
It's a.
have a common area with long-term individually rented bedrooms as in a boarding house model,
And I would even say it's a single family house.
right?
That's
Yeah,
what it
okay.
is. Single
Okay,
family
this
house.
type of single family home. Or house. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, option 7. This is our favorite one.
Duplex,
I think it's clear.
Okay, okay,
It may or may not be owner occupied. I know a lot of people that have them because they want the. income
last
from the
one,
second unit, and that allows them to stay in there as the owner.
so we just
Okay.
say
Okay, yeah.
may or may not. Right. Be. Owner occupied, okay. And then under option 7, we have what else?
Yep.
Do you have any other ideas?
right,
And
and
then,
then can we have them rank these?
yes,
Is the Eco Village? I'm just wondering, I'm curious about that, because when that was all going on, we did have a few people say, well, I could see putting that, can we do that at Temple? Like, people wanted
Yeah.
some intentional living community, either with a farm or, you know, some.
I mean, I think that works, but somebody has to be intentional about it, and it's not.
Right.
Developed, right?
Yeah,
Like,
well, actually, I heard from a developer who read our minute after
Okay.
that, hey, I would really love to talk to
Yeah.
you about this, and I said, great, but we're not ready, we're not
Yeah.
there yet.
Yeah, I know a guy in Wilton, kind of near the Temple Wilton farm. I can't remember his name. I see him at the group all the time. Doug something. And like they have a property that they got approved a while ago to do like an eco village type housing thing. Donald, yes.
Kind of,
Yeah.
like, Golden Cabbage, yeah,
Yeah. And,
they were gonna put in high-end expensive.
but it was still like a similar idea of like clustered close together, communal septic and agricultural based
Eco-friendly,
concept.
yeah,
So,
right, with the farm, right.
You bring up a good,
Stone Bar.
Stone Barton,
Right,
Peterborough
yeah,
was gonna be
right.
that.
There was gonna be, I think, condos, different levels.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I do, think
Money.
it's not a public conversation.
yeah. But you bring up a good point, Christine, because anyone who thinks, "Oh, I'm gonna have a development, they immediately say, it's gonna be high end.
Right,
All of them, everyone.
yeah,
I wanna bring in as much money for myself as possible.
yeah, well, that
That's
was
how it
not the
always
case,
is.
developer that reached out to me.
Oh,
He
okay.
said he was, he had done some in Massachusetts and he gave me links to look at. And he said the way he does it is he has it's a variety of price points and a couple of rentals too. But he does bigger projects. And at that time, we were looking at the property next to the school and it's only 16 acres. And I said, I don't know if this would be worth it for you. We're only talking about 16 acres,
Yeah,
probably not that many units. But he said, please keep me in mind about the future.
yeah,
So it is possible to do it,
yeah.
but whether or not, I don't know if there's support for it, but when that village in Peterborough was getting shut down, I did hear from a few people who said, you know, we should try to do that in Temple,
Mm.
and they would support it.
I have
I
a
would-
question, ADUs, I don't all require part of it to be owner occupied. So you don't have absentee landlords.
I mean, I think that would have to
It's
be
questionable.
defined, right? But
I'm just curious, because I don't, want-
yeah,
Right now, our zoning says owner occupied.
I think that's,
Yeah, I do too.
We
Cause then,
do have rentals that are not
but that's,
occupied.
no, but I think a lot of, in the duplex case, you could end up with a lot of Airbnbs, which is not what we want.
Which we have.
Well, I know we
well,
do.
that's what the Temple cabins are now.
I know.
So
They are.
Expensive.
they're
Oh.
$300 or something. I
Yeah.
think someone told me.
It's crazy.
Well, yeah, I think they do have some that are for like nurses and people that are here for 3 or 6
Yeah.
months, but yeah,
So to be the devil's advocate, I don't like Airbnbs.
I know, I use. them
Because,
all the time.
well, no, oh, I know, it's just that I was reading a couple of articles a few months ago about Airbnbs sucking up all the rental units.
And it makes
Like,
it, so, no, the excess housing is not, that could be
Yeah.
people living in a community.
And
Yeah.
they do get so much more for Airbnbs.
So somebody's
Well, they do,
renting
but they
it.
have to consistently rent it too, which
So
in a lot of
especially in
cases.
a lot of tourist-based economies, the Airbnb is making it so like, I have friends that live in like the, like Killington area and work at the mountain. And
Yeah.
they can't find housing, and it's like 7 of them packed into a 1-bedroom like house with like.
So I have another question, before we wrap this up. We're gonna be talking about affordable housing. So what is the definition that we want to use? So when we're talking to somebody, they say, well, what do you mean by affordable housing?
So that's what I said.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I know, but I mean, what do we say? If, I don't want to start reading off the RSA.
but I don't mean the
Oh.
RSA, but I mean, with the designation,
Right.
percentage of whatever has to do with
Yeah,
where
area
they are.
median income,
Yeah, so would we say, well, we're looking at someone spending a quarter of their median income of X, or a third of their median income, or how do we put that into dollars and cents so that people can understand what it is?
well, there's like a fact sheet we can get from New Hampshire Housing that will say,
Okay,
will tell you what it costs now. For someone based on area median income, what's considered affordable,
okay,
and it'll tell you what's available, and that brings
Right? Well,
Yeah, if
one of those
you,
reports we were looking at.
yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
she shared it. But
I mean, I think it should be more important to not necessarily define affordable as a number, but back when we were
Yeah.
talking about these professions cannot afford housing.
Right,
Cause that's a more realistic thing, being like, you know, if like Jim Matag was a single person, he went to buy a house today in Temple, he couldn't afford to.
Yeah, but we need, some people are quantitative. Some people
Yeah.
are qualitative, so they wanna know, you know, some people will, that's a perfect example, that would be great, but somebody else would say, well, what is that in dollars?
yeah, I mean, you can have both of those answers. right?
Yeah, yeah,
So I believe the last forum and Ivy's slides, she had both of those things address both the
okay,
30% of, or whatever it was.
well, I remember seeing some things,
There,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
she also addressed
but it's
the,
different rent.
she also addressed the professions.
yeah, I remember the professions.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the 30%, but I didn't know if there was something specific to Temple that she had mentioned. And I looked through a couple of documents and I didn't have a chance to do a lot of research. but-
Yeah.
There's a bill in the legislature to increase the.
Oh. Doesn't that
Oh.
happen every year, though?
Yeah, and how likely is that to pass?
Yeah.
And it's
Especially
also the
when-
minimum wage doesn't really exist in New Hampshire.
Right,
In the sense of if you're working for $7.25, you're
Not
doing
living.
something wrong.
Right.
Here in high school. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, really.
yeah, seriously.
See my dog, my cat's
I thought it was a dog sitter.
not a dog, we don't have a dog, but you do pay the dog sitter more.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so Lillian will get us an updated version of what we just did tonight. We will ask at the end the option, what else, or what are we missing? And then also please ask to rank the 7 we have in order of favorability. So we can even zero it down. I mean, they're different. That's the problem. That's what's gonna be hard about ranking them, right? Is we're not asking them, we're ranking very different things. But we've gone from throwing that big sheet at them to the ones with the most green dots. Now, if we can get something funneled down, because once again, we can't eat the elephant all at one time. We're gonna have to figure out, you know, what to suggest to
I
the
feel
planning
like
board.
The interviews.
I do too.
Yeah,
And then I think, like you say, if we have them ranked, just like what, like the most, something, that one, you were gonna ask for zoning change, don't the one that everybody. Because the one that everybody went, I don't know. Ask for zoning change.
They won't vote for
Yeah.
it. Right.
yeah, good point.
Yeah.
I would also add just some more general information is that nothing huge is gonna happen within the next year. Like, it takes the planning board a lot of time to develop good regulations or, you know, to present. Carter. It takes a long, the process takes a long time. There's not gonna be any
Well, then you've got
dramatic change
Yeah.
happening anytime. It's not gonna happen fast.
And
And
you've
this
got a
is
lot
not
on your
like
plate
post-
and we haven't even delivered it to your
We have
plate
a lot
yet.
it already.
Yeah,
And so we'll probably take maybe one of these. If, you know, and look at it, and we may or may not be ready to present it next March. Like, it takes a long time.
Yep.
And legal review and all, of you know, it's a process. So if anyone is afraid we're gonna make 6 changes, like zoning changes, so that all 6 of those, that is not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So let's focus on what's manageable and what won't have a dramatic impact, but will help in some way.
which like. Again.
Whatever comes out of it, I don't have a favorite, I'm just saying, like. There's not gonna, like, the town is not gonna change, that there's not gonna be a whole lot of development next year.
Right.
based on any change we make. It's just not gonna happen. There's too many other outside factors. Labor costs, material costs, like. You know, it's expensive to build anything right now. Surveyors, but like 2 months, 3 months behind, backed up right now.
At least.
Yeah, so if anyone, if you hear any fear or anything, we can let them know that it's not realistic.
Okay. That's all I had for tonight. Anyone else?
When's your next meeting?
Our next meeting is the 4th of March. Same place, same time, followed by planning board the next day.
Oh, I do. So. This document that you're gonna be sending out, is that the final that we can start? Interviews?
Yes,
Oh, good.
Okay. Well, as soon as
Yep.
we get that, we can start with interviews.
yes,
We divided up with the list or,
we've all,
Yes, Murray asked to be added to the list, so I'll just add him to my list.
perfect,
I'm gonna start.
perfect.
And I
Yeah, and I have a
people that
couple.
I'll
Yeah.
I've been making my own.
Casually do,
We're all,
children, so.
exactly,
people that came to the earlier sessions. Do you know if they are on the list or if they asked to be on the list?
some of them have.
Like Nick Rowe and Mary Ann.
Nick has seen me 4 times.
Is that all?
Mary Anderson has expressed.
Yep, Mary, she's on there.
But I just want to know.
Yep.
Circle back to any of those.
Cam's on the
early-
list.
I know Cam's on the list.
And highlighted, yes. So as soon as we get that back, we can start. And again, we said last month that we would like to be finished with this by the end of all interviews by the end of April. That will give us May to cull through the data and thoughtful process of figuring out what we want to then create to submit to the planning board by June.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like a motion to adjourn?
I second.
all in favor?
I.
Aye. Aye. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we still have more to go through, so, but it'd be nice to start with like a, getting our copy.